something tragic and sad, if we're really, really being honest, because I think that shit's sad. I think Adrien Broner may be finished. What do you guys think? Now, let me go ahead and say it is no secret that TstreeT had his mental health issues in the past, but I ain't no motherfucking boxer. And one thing I can say, and I said before, is that, and it's true, for those who ever dealt with mental health issues, you know, I'm talking about deep, dark place shit. The only person that can help you is you. That's it. You know, after a while, people don't understand. They may be like, damn, motherfucker, something really wrong. You know, he really going through it, or she really going through it. But there comes a time where people have their own lives and they be like, you know what? Ain't nothing we can do. What the fuck we gonna do? They got to fix themselves. And it's hard for me to believe that PBC, you know, or Al Heyman, or, you know, maybe Floyd or whoever didn't try to help him, because it looks like Broner's been having some issues and on a downward spiral for several years now. I remember we sent somebody, this is when I was with another, before I started FightView360, we sent somebody to an Adrien Broner, and I was going through some deep mental health shit at the time. We sent somebody to the Adrien Broner, this was in a Mayweather gym, Adrien Broner versus Shawn Porter media workout, and I believe it was during fight week. It's the same week that he had lit a flame under the ass of Shawn Porter Sr., talking about, like, you know, how Shawn have the better girl, Porter Sr. have the Kenny have the better girl, Kenny have the bigger car, the bigger house, all that shit. Remember, he did all that shit. But apparently during that whole week, fight week, leading up to the fight, that he was drunk. Like showing up to the media workout, like smelling like straight alcohol, like partying all night type of shit. And for what I've learned from covering him from all these years and from the media end, without going into too many details, he been like this for a while and still been like that, like showing up, you know, to public events, like drunk. And he's talked about, I've played the clip multiple times on the channel after he had got the win over Giovanni Santiago, a fight where a lot of people thought he shouldn't have won. He did a post-fight media Q&A via Zoom because it was still lockdowns and everything. And he was talking about it's one of his number one vices. He said he had two vices that was kind of confusing. He said number one vice was sex. Number two was women. I just like, you know, bro, like who, you know, like that's the same shit to me, you know, and other people on the channel said the same thing. But he said one, sex, two, women. And then number three, he kind of stuttered a little bit and looked at somebody. He was like, all right, I'll say it, you know, liquor. And what I learned about alcohol, and when you're like drinking, when you're depressed, that shit just makes shit worse. And then if you hung over, like, you don't be wanting to do shit. Now, let me tell you something. I used to drink when I was younger, let's say about 10, when I first started on YouTube, about 10 years ago, I was a bartender at TGI Fridays. The most popular TGI Fridays in the city. It's called TGI Fridays on City Line Avenue. They call it Club Fridays. I had like a pattern. I would go to work, right? I was the opening bartender. I would go to work, meet a woman, go pick her up, go to one of the little restaurant happy hours or something, drink there, get fucked up off all these happy hour apps and drinks and shit. Go to the liquor store, go home. If it's not with the woman, with another woman, you know, from one of my side pieces, you know, drinking, party in there, start the whole process over, not taking care of none of my business, not doing nothing I'm supposed to do for myself. Just, you know, excuse my language, fucking bitches getting money. So what I noticed is, like, I would just be sad and shit all the time. Like, bro, like, why is everything always piling up on me? So I can only imagine if I'm supposed to be a multi-million-dollar superstar athlete boxer, and you out here partying, you pretty much have a limited resources to party and meet all kind of women. Because let's be honest, if you don't know, Adrien Broner always got some nice women with him. You see what I'm saying? So, and he a charismatic dude. You always hear about how like chicks like him. And he got all them kids. So clearly the man don't have no problem with no women. But the thing is, that party lifestyle can really fuck you up. And what I was thinking to myself a long time ago is like, yo, if he gonna be out here partying and everything, he can't be boiling down to no 140. Your body ain't there. Like it ain't, you can't do it. You're gonna kill yourself. If you seen like that post-fight interview, I'm not gonna play it on the channel again. I'll pull it up just to have it in the background. He looked like he aged so much. You can just see it like in his face. You know, which is probably why he rocked the beard. Adrien Broner just turned 33 on July the 28th, not even a month or so ago, about 3 weeks ago. You know, and I just don't think that he can cut that weight no more. He already expressed that he's having some issues, significant issues with PBC. How many times he going to cuss out Steven Espinoza and Al Heyman? I'm talking about he be cussing out Al Heyman. He be dropping information that like we not supposed to hear about how the fights be on pay-per-views because Al Heyman and PBC don't have the dates and the money to pay the fighters, all kind of shit. But he looks a lot older than his age. And then you see like the startling like pictures that every now and then come out of somebody taking a picture of him at an event. And he's just like on the wall leaning all fucked up. Or one, you know, like where he's passed out in a wheelchair. I used it as a thumbnail. But who is really to blame? Now, he said himself. He said that he has to stay active. You know, because he said, quote, I don't know why God got my life set up like this. That was one quote. And then he was saying, like, if he's not fighting, he's going to be fighting more cases or whatever. I think that he's one of those people, one of those fighters that he needs to be active. Like, he, you know, like to keep him out of trouble. But one thing for sure is 140-pound division, he needs to stay as far from that shit as possible. Stay away from 140. If you want my input, I think that it's a combination. And we did a poll in the chat. And by the way, Joshua, you still in the chat? Let me know. I'm going to read your question out. If you're still in the chat, Joshua. But let me see what the poll says. I did a poll. It's at the top of the chat. Was Adrien Broner having mental issues or weight issues? The options were or are mental health, weight, both, and some other dark shit in his life. 17% said mental health, 30% said weight, 33% said both, and 20% said some other dark shit in his life. I'm going to say both. I'm going to say both. I think Adrien Broner not only was having issues with the weight, but he's unhappy with his promoter. And, you know, like he's broke. And I do believe that he's on one of them payment plans and PBC's doing it for his benefit. You know how if you haven't heard, PBC fighters don't get paid all up front. They get paid in multiple payments. But he's definitely going through some shit. And then remember, he's been sued and lost at least 3 different times for lots of money. From a release of a sex tape against like the women's permission. Remember that lawsuit? One for jewelry. And then there was another one. I forgot what the other one was. Something happened when he punched a dude out. And I believe there was a 4th one. Walking out of a promotional duty of the virtual press conference. There's been a lot that's been going on with that dude. And you'd be looking at it like, bro, used to be like, put it this way, he used to be so like, I can't really say he was really like so good, but he was good enough to be able like to compete. Child support whooping his ass. At one point in time, I believe he posted that he had to pay something like $12,000 a month in child support. He turned down that Rock Nation deal, and that's been a point of discussion because here's the way I look at it, right? That Rock Nation deal was supposed to be about $40 million. We do know that Rock Nation went belly up, but he would have got a buyout. You see what I'm saying? He would have got a buyout and would have still been able to be with PBC. He would have got a buyout. And people say stuff like Rock Nation wasn't able to get people fights. I think they would have been able to get Broner fights. He turned down that, what was it? Was it 6 or 8 million from Eddie Hearn? And it's taboo to talk about. But certain fighters, you know, are good with certain promoters. For example, Haney should have been with Top Rank. I think that Tank should be with Top Rank. I think that, you know, certain fighters do better with certain promoters, you know? When it comes to certain, like, for example, I've been thought that Bud should go to PBC because they were going to freeze him out. It depends on how you look at it. But I think Adrien Broner, I think that being locked in that PBC deal, I think that wasn't good for him. But in one thing that may have been good for him by staying with PBC is them not saying, all right, we go ahead and pay you all your money at once. Go ahead and blow it. To where, from my understanding of the PBC pay structure, is that they hold on to your money and distribute it out. It's their way of taking care of you, you know? But yeah. Let me read Joshua's super chat. Hold on 1 minute. Let me read Joshua's super chat. Joshua Bit said, thanks for the $10 super chat, bro. Says, hey, T-Street, do you ever see Broner headlining another fight card? Good question. I think he's finished after the stunt he pulled. Curious to hear your thoughts. Now, good question. Here's the thing. No matter what the issue is, and I've been through, you go through some mental health issues and you keep fucking up, eventually people are going to view you as being unreliable. Remember how we feel about Ryan Garcia, about how, like, man, you know, like, he might fuck around and pull out because of mental health issues. But he's been openly disrespectful to the hands that feed him regarding PBC and the network of Showtime, openly cussing him out. And, you know, Showtime is in a tough spot because they lost 2 main events, one whole event, and Jake Paul versus Hasim Rahman altogether. But I don't feel confident that they're going to have Adrien Broner headlining another event. I don't. You know, I think he's going to be co-feature now, yo. I don't think he's going to be headlining another event no time soon. I think that ship is probably going to sail. He's too unreliable. By the way, if you don't know, Sergey Lipinets has now stepped in, and my gut feeling was telling me that he was on the card anyway because PBC probably knew something was up with Broner via weight checks. You can't tell me Broner wasn't under weight checks. And here's what Omar Figueroa had to say. Well, actually, first, let's go look at what Adrien Broner had to say. First, here's what he posted. God damn it, Eubank Sr., get out of here. Hold on, let me get him out of here. But here's what he had to say on his Instagram. This came out at about 6 a.m. Monday morning. Monday morning this came out about because I saw this as soon as I woke up and I was like, what the fuck? So here's what he posted on his Instagram. Man, I'm going through a lot at this moment in my life, but I ain't go give up. I set some more goals and I ain't stopping until I finish what I started. But sorry to say this, but I'm not fighting August the 20th. And here is the caption. Sorry to all my fans, but mental health, and he put hashtag mental health is real. And I'm not supposed to play inside the ring. I've watched a lot of people die playing with their boxing career, and this is something I won't do. Just pray for me. I love the sport of boxing too much to not give my all, and I feel like I came up short before because my mind wasn't 100% there, and I'd be damned if I make that mistake again. I need to make some changes for the better instead of worrying about other people's feelings and pleasing them, when in reality, I have nothing to prove to nobody. I'm a 4-time champion in 4 different weight classes, and if I ever lace up a pair of gloves again, if I never lace up a pair of gloves again, I feel like it's safe to say I will be inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. So I have to step back and overcome this obstacle before I go put my life on the line inside the square circle again. I know I'm far from finished with the sport. See y'all soon. Respectfully, heart emoji, AB at Showtime Boxing. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I think he's done. Like, I think that shit's done. I think that goose is cooked. You know, because at the end of the day, you still got to run a business. You still got to run a business. And if you're Showtime, you know, would you be like, you know what? All right, he going through some shit, but we've been hearing this before. Let's just, you know. Here's what Omar Figueroa has to say. And you would think that he knows something. And it's a shame, you know, but here's what Omar Figueroa had to say. As we all know, my fight against that motherfucker Broner is off. Now, I don't mind because this is something we expected, so we had plans in motion to mitigate most of the aftermath. What really pisses me off is that now this motherfucker wants to use mental health as a fucking excuse. That I have a problem with because that's BS. You don't get to cry mental health now, motherfucker. Not saying you don't suffer from mental health issues, as we can all tell you do. He put that in caps. Just don't use it as an excuse now after you've been undisciplined and not taking the fight training camp seriously, exclamation point. If it really is mental health, please show us proof that you went and sought professional help. You love to post all the shit on social media. Why not let us in on your mental health recovery? You don't get to undermine mine and countless others' journey and struggles with mental health because you're undisciplined, childish, dumbass. Fuck you, Broner, exclamation point. Just when I thought you couldn't stoop any lower. Shit. That's that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty angry. And it doesn't help that like Broner has that reputation of being undisciplined, man. You know, it don't help at all. It's a bad look. But then last night, guess who decided to chime in? Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis decided to chime in. Hold on Broner's mental health. And the thing is, this is why everybody thinks it's Broner's mental health, because let me tell you what he did. He put out a tweet, right? Let me read it to you. Boxers got to stop. That's what Tank put out, but then he took it down. Boxers got to stop using mental health shit to get out of stuff. Your ass a bitch. But then he would have posted something and took that down too. I wasn't talking about Adrien Broner. Did another boxer have a mental health shutdown yesterday that we don't know about? Does Tank Davis and Adrien Broner have beef from that rumored $100,000 that Tank Davis let Broner borrow? Wild. What up, Donnell? Do you think the fight's also canceled because of low ticket sales? I don't think so, bro. No, the card's still going on. We're going to talk about that. But as I said, I just think that Broner, man, I think that he's finished. You know, I mean, he may be able to get other fights, but they're going to be like, listen, if you're really serious about your recovery, show us that you doing what you're supposed to be doing. But also, if you're really serious, then listen, we'll sign you to a couple fight deal, 3 fights. You fight on this undercard, then another undercard, and then maybe we'll think about putting you on the main event, and no more 140 pounds. Like it's going to be, if you want to catch weight, 142, 144, we'll try to accommodate you with that shit. But ain't no more 140. I think it's safe to say 140 should be out the picture, right? I mean, and look, the man, where's his resume? The man hasn't fought. He's had so many layoffs. Who do you blame for the layoffs? 34, 4-1, 24 KOs. Giovanni Santiago, the beginning of 2021. No fight in 2020. Okay, all right, COVID. Only fight in 2019 was Manny Pacquiao, the beginning of 2019. One fight in 2018, Jesse Vargas. So look at that. That's 4 years. No fights. 4 years, 3 fights. 4 years, 3 fights. How the hell that happened? He's missing at least 3 fights. If he'll be fighting twice a year, he's missing at least 3 fights. Guys like him should be fighting at least the bare minimum is at least 3 times a year. But yeah, I think that goose is cooked. I think it is cooked. Broner ain't fighting in the 140 no more. You think, would you trust Adrien Broner to fight at 140 pounds? Hell no. I wouldn't do it. And then as you can see, he doesn't want to promote the events. He think he different. He wants Floyd Mayweather style press conferences. It's like, bro, all PBC fighters are doing virtual press conferences, and then they have a press conference during fight week. But let's go look at the card real quick since we're here. I'm still going to be covering the card and likely streaming during the main event. Omar Figueroa is now going to be taking on Sergey Lipinets. That's a fun fight. Better, more exciting fight on paper because let's face it, the only reason why we were really interested in Broner versus Figueroa is because Figueroa throws a lot of punches, and a lot of people thought it was going to be a retirement party for Broner. 28-2-1 with 19 KOs. Like, it was a fight tailor-made for Broner to lose. And remember, this fight was supposed to happen years ago. But he lost to Abel Ramos, your Dennis Ugas, 2 straight fights, loss by Omar Figueroa. And he openly talked about his mental health issues in the past as well. Here is the card. And it's a good card, too. Nice, solid card. You're going to have Alberto Puello taking on Akhmedov for that WBA title at 140, the only WBO title at 140. Jose Zepeda and Rigas Prograis will be fighting for the WBC. Josh Taylor was ordered to fight Jeremias Ponce for the IBF. Likely it'll be Ponce versus Sabril Matias for the IBF if Josh Taylor vacates. Josh Taylor's going to hold on to the WBO and will likely fight Jack Catterall in the rematch. You have Roger Gutierrez fighting Hector Garcia. Remember, Roger Gutierrez was supposed to fight Chris Colbert, but Roger Gutierrez was injured or COVID, I forgot. In steps Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia goes on to beat Chris Colbert. Brandon Lee taking on Will Madera. Ismael Barroso was supposed to take on Sergey Lipinets. And I forgot who was supposed to take on. Basically, they had 2 extra 140 pounders on the card for a reason, it seems like to me, just in case some shit went down with Broner. But you have Rasheed Warren also returning to take on Francisco Portillo. Hassan says, didn't this fight get canceled the first time because Omar was drunk? I don't remember that. Andrew says, maybe Broner realized he couldn't beat him and pulled the plug. Maybe. Because a lot of people felt, and I'm sure Broner heard it, that he was going to lose because Omar Figueroa just was going to outthrow him, outpunch him. Very, very likely.